Hey folks, today I'd like to talk to you about a game that I've talked about for a while. It's called For Sale. This is actually the old version of it. Well, not the old version, but one of the older versions. It's been reprinted a couple of times since this, but this game I've used in a lot of different situations, and it has come through with flying colors in most of them. So let's take a look at how game plays, then I'll give you my thoughts afterwards. As we get into opening the box, basically what you'll find is, and of course depending on the version that you buy, it'll vary slightly, but you'll get your token rule book, which is actually a flip style rule book, which is, you know, not neither here nor there, but a little bit different. And then you're going to have two decks of cards. The first deck of cards are going to actually be properties that range from a 1 to a 30 in value. Okay, so you have the cardboard box all the way up to the space station, and these are the properties that you're going to be bidding on purchasing in the first round of the game. The second round of the game is where you're going to be trying to sell those properties, and the second deck are these different kind of cards that look like checks, and they have for 7,000 or 2,000, 12,000, and these will be the checks that you actually that you're given for the purchasing of these properties. All right, so then on top of that, you'll also be getting a number of 2,000 and 1,000 tokens with which to bid on these properties. So let's take a look at gameplay. Okay, now For Sale is basically played in two different phases. The first phase is where you're buying properties. The second phase is when you're selling off those properties, trying to make a profit. Now, each person is dealt out. It depends on the number of players. In a 3 to 4 player game, each person is given two $2,000 tokens and then 14 $1,000 tokens. So you're basically starting with $20,000. And in a 5 to 6 player game, you're dealt out two $2,000 chips and 10 $1,000 chips. And so you're starting with less, but there's more players out there. Anyway, I've got a 3-player game set up here. And first thing you do is you take the property deck and you shuffle it. And then you set it aside and you turn over one property for each person that is in the game. And then bidding starts on the properties that are being sold this round. So let's say I start. I'm going to go ahead and go with 2,000. Okay. So this person here wants to put in 2,000. They have to go above. So they'll put 3 in. Then this person has to go above 3,000 if they want to stay in. And so, okay, I'll go with 4,000. All right, so now I started with 2. I have to go above 4 if I want to do that. So I'll put 3 more in. I'll stay in. Okay, this person over here says, you know what? Too rich for my blood. They have to spend half of what they've already bid rounded up. So they would keep the 1,000. They would put the 2,000 in the boxes having paid. And then they take the lowest numbered card. So they would take the 2, flip it over. This person says, you know what, there's a real big difference between 8 and 26, so I'm going to stay in. Might not be the best idea. Maybe it is a good idea. Who knows? So I've got 5,000 here. I've got to put in 2 more thousand. So I'm up to 6. And I'm like, well, you know what? This is, can't turn back now. So we've got 6,000 to my 5. Got to put in 2 more. I'm going to do it. This person says, yeah, you're right. Too rich for my blood, so pays half and takes the lowest card. Then I'm the last one. I have to pay everything that I have, and then I get this card for that trick, so to speak. Then next we put over 3 more cards. And the person who won the last bid begins the next one. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, you know what? These are all pretty high cards. I'm going to save my money and I'm going to go ahead and just take the lowest card. Next person begins. Well, the difference between 22 and 27, I don't want this person to get it for very, cheap, so I'm going to go ahead and go in for 2. This person says, you know what, who cares? I'm getting 22. Go ahead and pay your 2,000, and you get the 27. Then the next round happens. Okay, now this is the highest card in the deck. So this is probably going to be an instance where people are going to want to bid on it. Or maybe not. Just depends. So the person who won the last card goes first. Yeah, I'm in. This person, yep, I want that 30, just like everybody else does. This person says, you know what? You can have your 30. I'm going to save my money. All right, this person comes over here. I got to go higher, so I'm going to go higher. This person says, haha, sucker. So I'm going to let you pay 2,000. I'm going to keep 1. Come here. This person pays all of theirs and goes. And this continues until this entire deck is gone. So at the end of the first phase of buying properties, this is going to be somewhere what it's going to be kind of looking like. You're going to have a whole bunch of cards that are the properties that you purchased, auction style, and then you're going to have some money left over that you maybe didn't spend. That's actually not a bad thing because this money is worth points at the end of the game. So it's good to have money that you have left over after that first phase because it's just going to add to your point total. Now, more often than not, and this is the way I always play it, you don't have to necessarily, but this money would normally be hidden from sight. You wouldn't actually keep it up on the board, but for the purposes of the video, I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so we all have our property cards, and you can see that they range in number, whatever they were that we got. And we all have the same number of properties. Now we're going to try to sell those properties. So in similar fashion to the first round, we take the check cards that we have, the other deck of cards in the box, and we give them a shuffle. And just like the first one, we flip over the same number of cards for the same number of players. So since we're doing a 3-player game, we're going to flip over those cards right there. Okay? So now we take our cards, our properties, and look at them. Basically what's going to happen is there's a 6, an 11, and a 10 out here. And whoever plays the highest card from their hand of properties gets to take the highest check that's out here. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and place this one. And then this person will place, I don't know, this one. And this person will do, well, they wouldn't normally do that probably, but we'll do that. Okay, so then we all flip over the cards. Okay, we have a 17, a 16, and a 29. So the 29 would take the $11,000 check. The 17 would take the $10 check. And the 16 would take the $6 check. We flip that over. These are discarded. And then we go to the next one. 1, 2, 3. A blank check. Now I wanted to show you this because some of these do have no money on them whatsoever. So when one of these comes up, you want to do the best you can to try to avoid it. So this person plays, let's just have fun, this card. And this person plays this card. And I am going to make sure I don't get that 0. So we flip over the cards. We have a 15, a 9, and a 26. So the 26 would take the 12,000, which is the highest. The 15 would take the 9,000, which is the second highest. And this guy over here with the beach shack has to sell it for no profit whatsoever. And that continues until all of these property cards are gone. At the end of the second phase, you'd be left with something like this. This is the money that was carried over from the first phase that we did not spend during the auction, and these are the checks for which we sold all of our properties. So we would take and look at our numbers here, and we would simply take the number that is listed on our checks, add the money chips that are left over from the beginning of the game. We add all of these together. The person who has the most points or the most money wins. And that's For Sale. So as you can see, For Sale is a light game, very light. It's a filler game, and that's what I like it for. I don't, this is not usually my cup of tea, where it's not a game that I can sink my teeth into. It's not a game that I'm going to spend hours playing, because quite frankly it just doesn't take that long to play, and it's not meant to be that, so I'm fine with it. So For Sale is the auctioning game. You're wanting to bluff, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of interaction, and it's one of those games where you can kind of push your luck sometimes, and sometimes you can't, and pushing your luck kind of bite you in the butt. But for what it is, it's a light filler game. I think that has a lot of good things into it. The artwork is nice, although it's not fantastic. It's still really good, and it has a good aesthetic feel to it. It's very easy to teach, probably less than 5 minutes. You can have somebody up and running on this game, and it does engage to an extent. So I'm going to give this 2 For Sale properties up for sale. Go check it out.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.